Hello, interwebs, and welcome to S.P.L.U.S.H, the Human Revolution. Today we're going to be entering into our second episode of Critical Review. Spoiler alert, we're going to be spoiling the storyline. So we're going to be talking about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and its sequel series, The Heroes of Olympus. And, yeah. So, first on the agenda, the movies. Good lord, how terrible. I mean, I didn't realize how bad they were because I started with the movie, with the first one. I didn't read the books until after I saw the movie, and the movie seemed pretty good, and that's what drew me into reading the books. And then after I read the books, I'm like, holy fuck, who the hell directed this piece of crap? Because really, they completely ignored every plot point. They made the characters older than they were supposed to be. They added in a romantic thing that wasn't there. They just, mixed everything up so badly, and just, whatever. Where did the Hydra come from? Okay, sorry. Okay, so there are 5 books in each series, plus 1 book of mini-stories, so technically it's a 12-book saga, which is very intimidating to a casual reader. But if you start with just the 5 books of Percy Jackson, you will not even realize that you went through them, because they're short, they're children books technically. I mean, they have a little bit of, I would call it more of a young adult book, mainly because the subject matter, I mean, they're combat and whatnot, but it's classified as a children's book, so it's not hard to read. The basic story is that this kid named Percy is in a pretty shitty life, average New York household, stepdad. He went to boarding school because he's a screw-up. I mean, his life kind of sucks. Not as much as some people's lives suck, but, just enough to be like, oh, well, you're a little bit subpar there. Damn. And then he finds out that he's actually a demigod, the son of Poseidon, more specifically. And then he finds out that he has to save the world by rescuing this artifact from Hades. The artifact in question is Zeus's lightning bolt, which they believe was stolen by Hades. And, long story short, it wasn't. But anyway, Percy teams up with a girl named Annabeth, who is the daughter of Athena, and his best friend Grover Underwood, who is a satyr. Now, I don't know about you, but Greek mythology to me is just so dope. And Rick gets it right. I mean, he just throws in all these random things, but he throws them in a way that seems familiar. Like the story of Medusa. Gee, who beheaded Medusa the first time? Perseus. Who did it this time? Perseus Jackson. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Actually, all of his conflicts in the first book were pretty much ripped straight out of the story of Perseus. Medusa. Who else? Well, actually, no, just a couple of them. But he does keep going back to Perseus as a kind of springboard. But a lot of the things he does are based on Hercules. So he's kind of a hybrid hero. Set in the modern day, just, cool stuff working it out. But, yeah, so there's a little bit of romantic tension going on with Percy and Annabeth, but nothing really noticeable, because he seems interested, she does not. And it never outright says anything like that until much later on in the series, but still, you kind of get the feeling that there's romantic tension. Anyway, later on, there's this adventure where they have to go save the Golden Fleece, at the next summer. And then Annabeth gets kidnapped and he has to go rescue her. And then there's a bunch of hoopla with shipping and blah blah blah. I mean, really, they are kids. Come on, internet. Be more mature. Granted, they're Greek kids, but they're still kids. Come on. In any case, there are, like I said, 12 books. And at first, you get just the world of Percy Jackson. You get his side of the story as he narrates in first person. But as you move into the second series, Percy is not in the first book at all. The first book of the second set, which I guess would be considered the seventh book. I mean, really. But he's not in there at all. And this second set of books is narrated completely differently. It's narrated in what I would call the witch and wizard method. The reason I call it that is because the first book I ever read was a James Patterson novel the first book I ever read that had that narration style was a James Patterson novel, Witch and Wizard. And basically it just flips back and forth between 2 or 3 main characters, each of them not exactly narrating in first person, but kind of, sort of. I mean, he did the same thing with the Kane Chronicles, and it worked very well, so that's why he did it in the Heroes of Olympus. Because he wanted to show a more diverse look of the world. And that's cool, you know. I mean, he threw in this whole aspect of Roman mythology on top of the established Greek stuff, which, symbolism, and that was very interesting. And then he gets around to book 3, by which point I've already invested myself in this series. I'm waiting for the next book every year. I get to the end of book 3, and oh my freaking god, why? Why, Rick? Just why? There is absolutely no reason for that cliffhanger. Just, And it's made even worse by the fact that it is literally a cliffhanger. They're hanging from a cliff. Duh. Read between the lines. Okay. Sorry, that was a little bit of an angry rant there. But for those of you who are fans of the series, I know you'll understand where I'm coming from. And the fact that he posted a trolley apology in the next book, oh my god, where do you get off, dickhead? Just, He's the king of trolls. He's the troll king. Troll King Royarden, okay? So, after all of the shit with the Titans goes down, Percy has his little disappearing act, and the Roman side is introduced, and shit goes down with the giants, and then book 5 rolls in. Well, book 5 of section 2. And, wow. Gotta catch my breath here, because that, oh, God, that book. That was the perfect end to the series, I have to say. I mean, I would appreciate maybe an extra chapter or 2 at the end, just to kind of explain, you know, a couple of minor points, but overall, that book was just great. It wrapped things up very well. But then you get to the last page of the book, and you see this thing about Vikings and some kid whose last name is Chase. And then you think back to that conversation earlier where Annabeth was talking about her cousins in Boston, and you're just like, oh god, you dick. You're gonna make me wait till next autumn to read this crap, and then I'm gonna have to read, and it's gonna be another trilogy, and why are you doing this to me? Your work is so good, and yet you're so trolly. And why does it have to be Annabeth's cousin? Like, can't it be unrelated like the Kane Chronicles? I mean, how does Annabeth have a Nordic cousin? She's Greek. This just, no. Just no. And maybe I'm misreading this. Maybe the kid's name is Chase for some random ass reason. But the fact that they just introduced a character named Chase who lives in Boston, and then they say this, I'm sorry, it seems like that's what he's leading into. And that bugs me so bad. Ah. So, basically, the reason I'm reviewing this is because 1, I really like it, 2, there's a huge internet following, and 3, I figured I'd put my 2 cents in because why the hell not? And my 2 cents is that it's a very good book if you can get through it. I like listening to it on audiobooks. I like the first set better than the second set because the narrator of the second set, not so good. But I like listening to it on audiobooks while I play video games or as I drift off to sleep. It's a nice way to go back through a story that you've already read. I mean, you know, it's just kind of interesting. And there are too many fan fictions about this series. Too many. And none of them make any real sense, to be honest. They're just so much. So much and so little at the same time, and it just bugs me. It really does. But, regardless, we're gonna go give this game, movie, book, no, it's a book, the book. The movie gets a 0 out of 100 stars. The book, 4.5 out of 5. I'd say 4.5 out of 5. It's a very good book. Very solid, very well made, but there are just certain things that you throw in there just piss me off. Also, Rick, you really don't know how to write about time. I don't know why this is, but every time you start writing about things where time is involved, you just get all twisted around and it doesn't really make much sense. For example, this has nothing to do with Percy Jackson, but in the Kane Chronicles, that part where they were going through the House of Night, if it happened on the equinox, sun sets at 6 p.m. and rises at 6 a.m. So if they were stuck in the 4th house at 5 o'clock, then they were either either they were 3 hours ahead of time or 11 hours late, and your numbers don't add up there. It just doesn't. And you do that a couple of times throughout all of your books, and it's just one little thing, and I'm probably the only person who noticed it, but it really just bugs me. And whatever. No one's probably going to see this anyway, so be full of sploosh, everybody.